welcome to this podcast. Here I will just tell some ideas about the article that I wrote for the Watershed website without giving all the details, but just an overview. So the first important idea is knowing why this auction happened at the first place. So the answer is relatively simple, and this because the big state-owned corporation called Infraero that operates the Brazilian airports was not being able to expand the capacity at the pace that the country needed for the next years. Well, due to the framework of ideas on which this government built its proposal for the country, and that was basically the same since the beginning of the Lula government. So what happened was that they wanted the private investors, but they did not want to quit the strong position of Infraero in the airport business. So that the bidding launched by the government imposed that Infraero would remain partner in this business with participation limited to 49%, and the remaining would be the private sector participation. So how is it possible that the private investor would take this partnership with a state-owned company that is often criticized because of its low level of efficiency, or because it is influenced by politics? And considering that Infraero would remain responsible for services of top importance like the airport control tower and the airport authority coordination. So this caused a lot of fear to the investors. But despite this fear and this unfavorable situation, there were many investors optimistic with the Brazilian economy and the growth of the air travel in the country, that the result of the action was astounding. Well, there are different values for different airports. You can check in the article, and this reached altogether the sum of 25 billion. So this seemed to be at least inflated, and the financial market did not react well to these results, so that the corporations that won the auction suffered with the price of share slumping, and there is a lot of doubts if the revenues and the profitability will cover such amount of investment. One of the factors contributing to this astronomical grant value was the availability of money from the National Bank of Social Development, BNDES, that was set to the amount of up to 80% of the grant value, whatever it would be. So this made the investors more prone to taking risks. Anyway, the winners say that they can boost the commerce in the airport. They will turn feasible more shops, more hotels around, more parking, more whatever can be profitable in the airport. Maybe even the passenger services could be diversified, cargo services, and a long row of associated businesses. One of the most positive aspects of this new deal is that while these investors build and explore these wonderlands in these conceded airports, the grant that they will pay annually for exploring the business will be used to improve smaller airports around the country. Well, at least this is the idea. Well, if we analyze the negative factors, so one of them is that there will be pressure to recover this money, and probably this will be paid by the user, well, the people. And even the risk that this money is not recovered, and this would be worse. But with confidence that the Brazilian economy is strong and the airports will grow. Still, it is uncertain how the investors will apply the money in the actual improvement of the infrastructure, because the proposal, the bidding document put some goals of expanding capacity, but the verification that these goals of investment are being reached is not very well defined. So, and there is a lot of room for interpretation that could be used to cover unfair application of the money. Anyway, if we still have confidence that these problems can be overcome and keep optimistic, we consider that this big step was towards evolution. So it will open the possibility of new arrangement in the Brazilian airport, and not only in the airport business, but also in the whole civil aviation. And so what? Should we be happy that the problems are solved and we will have example of modernity in the air transport? Well, unfortunately, this is not the situation. There are many problems, or seen by other perspective, maybe opportunities to be explored, that will improve the Brazilian situation for the air transport, and this has to be done. It will maybe not now, but along the next years, these questions cannot be skipped. The first one that I wanted to mention is the need to increase the connectivity between the airports and the city locations. If we use any of these major hubs, the time to go to the city center, to the airport, is absurd, or we can pay more for the taxi than the ticket for the air travel, or alternatively we can take the public buses. But if you have um, big suitcases and stuff to carry, it is a lot of challenge. You have to be very prepared physically for this train, and the time will be even longer, and this is not absolutely a pleasant experience. Or if you have time and you don't have such amount of baggage, so it may be an opportunity, but this cannot be the normal situation. So the people uh, need more proper ways to travel to the airport. Another essential aspect is the safety of air travel, and in the last years we do not have a quite reliable situation, because in the years of 2009 and 2011 the accident number was record, although the public is not quite aware of it, because most of the accidents, or during these years, almost all accidents happened with smaller aircraft, and this is not very propagated in the media. But one of the safety principles is that where there are smaller occurrences, where there are incidents, the probability of major catastrophes is much higher. So the victory in the concession of airports must not be a reason for forgetting the safety, for relegating safety for the background. Another aspect worth of mentioning is that the planned investment for the airports must be effectively executed. And what do I mean with it? Is that this big auction was based on an agreement that the money involved will be invested to expand the capacity and further to expand small airports. So how the society will make sure that this happen and even enforce that this happens. So the legal mechanisms that are needed for this assurance are not so clear. Therefore, the key player, that is ANAC, the Civil Aviation Agency, so it has to create these mechanisms to make that the money is properly invested and the benefit turns into reality. Next step: business and general aviation. So what we know by business jets that are used by the corporate executives, in the other variety of smaller aircraft that are used for variety of purposes, like transport of small goods and reaching far locations, or even search and rescue, helicopters, etc. So this is what we know by business and general aviation. So with the pressure in the big airport hubs, in the metropolitan areas, these smaller aircraft are being pushed for farther airports, less equipped, and this is not a favorable situation, because each day it becomes more complicated to access the big airports, and they have no alternative. So if the authorities give the proper treatment for them, they will continue to play this essential role in the aviation, making feasible and enhancing a role of unsubstitutable activities for the economy. The country competitivity will perform well in the global scenario. Otherwise, the country will not be so competitive. Finally, it's important learning with the experience. So now there are 3 big airports that will start being explored by private investors with a new design of doing business, of the way of doing business, and new powers to be considered, and new players, and this can have positive and negative consequences. So it will be good that the government wait some years to watch the consequences of this deal and possibly learn with the errors, so that the new conceded or privatized, whatever, airports can present a better result for the population, for the airport users. And the last point is that if we can go to the most essential point of everything that is being discussed here, Brazil has to mature the civil aviation policies at the same time that it expands the capacity. So it's a question of maturity, and the great part of this maturity has to be sustained by the body of laws governing this key activity, which is aviation. And this body of laws currently existing are still weak and cumbersome, and we hope that our authorities take the measures to improve the situation before learning the hard way. Thank you for your attention, and I hope I can have contributed somehow to give some light to your thoughts. Thank you.